Chapter 2897. Lu Ming and the Paragon Saint were engaged in an intense battle. The two of them had just fought a while ago, and now, Lu Ming still had the upper hand. Lu Ming used all his means. After a dozen moves, Lu Ming had already gained the upper hand. The Paragon Saint was no match for him and was forced to retreat. "Come and help me," the Paragon Saint roared. Fuxiko, Holy Sun Ji Xia, and the others also charged over. "Floating light, your opponent is me," Ouyang Qingxiang shouted coldly as she charged toward Fuxiko. Ouyang Qingxiang and Fuxiko were both 5th-level heavenly gods. The two of them fought fiercely. As for Holy Sun Ji Xia, Holy Sun Yang Kong, and Holy Daughter Shuatan, their cultivation bases were a bit weaker. They had just charged toward Lu Ming when they were sent flying by Lu Ming's spear. They were injured and almost vomited blood. They couldn't interfere in the battle between Lu Ming and the Paragon Saint. After exchanging a few more blows, the 9-clawed divine dragon Dharma idol's dragon claw scratched the Paragon Saint's body, leaving a few deep wounds on his Paragon diamond body. The Paragon Saint roared and punched the 9-clawed dragon Dharma idol, causing it to collapse. However, Lu Ming had the quantifying character art. His divine energy continuously poured into his body, and the 3 9-clawed dragon Dharma idols condensed once more. There were also 9 ice chains. As soon as they were destroyed, Lu Ming would condense them again. He didn't care about the consumption of his divine energy. Damn it, Lu Ming, just you wait. The Paragon Saint roared and turned to leave. He knew that the formation plate had been obtained by Lu Ming. It was impossible for him to snatch it back. If the battle continued, it would be disadvantageous for him. The Supreme Holy Sun turned around and left. Fuxiko and the others didn't dare to continue fighting. They hurriedly ran after the Supreme Holy Sun and quickly broke out of the encirclement of the pangolins. Lu Ming did not give chase. Although his combat strength could suppress the Paragon Holy Sun, defeating him and killing him were two completely different things. With his current strength, it was not quite possible for him to kill the Paragon Holy Sun. "Let's leave too," Lu Ming said to Ouyang Qingxiang. Then, the two of them charged in another direction. After rushing out of the encirclement, they disappeared from this world. Over 100,000 li away, Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang found a place to rest. 2 days later, after the two of them had recovered to their peak condition, they continued their search on the planet. Unfortunately, they searched the planet for a full 7 to 8 days, but to no avail. "It seems like there's only one array plate on this planet. Let's go to other planets to take a look," Ouyang Qingxiang said. "Alright, then let's go to that planet." Lu Ming stretched out his hand and pointed to the sky. Above them, there was a fiery red planet floating in the air. This planet was even closer to the star. "Alright," Ouyang Qingxiang nodded. Immediately, the two of them soared into the sky, turned into 2 streams of light, and flew toward that planet. Not long after Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang left, 5 figures appeared in a secret place not far away. They were the Paragon Holy Sun, Fuxiko, and the others. "Paragon of Universe, what should we do now?" Fuxiko asked. "Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang must die." The Paragon Holy Sun gritted his teeth, his eyes flashing with a sinister light. "With our strength, I'm afraid we can't kill Lu Ming and the others," Holy Maiden Shuatan said. "If we can't kill them, naturally, someone else can." Back in the land of the ancient god, Lu Ming killed the Holy Sons of the Mystic Academy and the Invincible Kens. "These two forces want to eliminate Lu Ming," the Paragon Holy Sun said coldly. "You want to kill them with a borrowed knife?" Fuxiko and the others' eyes lit up. "That's right. Now, Mo Juye and the others from the Mystic Academy are on that dark planet. Let's go there and inform them of Lu Ming's whereabouts. Moreover, Lu Ming still has an array plate. I believe Mo Juye will definitely make a move," the Paragon Holy Sun said, his body emitting a sinister murderous aura. He glanced at Fuxiko and the others and continued, "As long as Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang are dead, the Kongxian school will still be mine. I promise you that I will not mistreat you in the future." Rather than letting the Kongxian school fall into the hands of Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang, why don't you make the decision? Let's go and find Mo Juye and the others. Fuck Siko said. Immediately, the 5 of them flew towards the dark planet where the Mystic Academy was located. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang did not spend much time on the fiery red planet. The environment of this planet was even worse. The gravity of this planet was stronger than the previous one, and the temperature was shockingly high. Ordinary creatures would not be able to survive here. After the 2 of them arrived on this planet, they started searching everywhere. This is Red Dawn Gold. Not long after, they found a few pieces of strange metal. Red Dawn Gold was an extremely rare refining material. It could be used to refine supreme-grade artifacts used by immortal kings. It was extremely precious. The 2 of them were overjoyed. Dragon Jushan was right. In this galaxy, other than the array plate, there were indeed other treasures. This kind of metal is very useful to Chocho. If he swallows it, it will definitely be very useful. Lu Ming thought. Thinking of this, Lu Ming looked at the bracelet on his wrist that Chocho had turned into. Ever since Chocho swallowed the bronze from the bronze altar in the ancient god world, he had been in a deep slumber. Until now, there were still no signs of him waking up. There were 2 pieces of Red Dawn Gold. Originally, they were going to split them equally. Lu Ming wanted to buy it from Ouyang Qingxiang with divine crystals. Ouyang Qingxiang shook her head and directly gave the Red Dawn Gold to Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not stand on ceremony and kept it. After that, they continued to search on this planet and really did find many precious metals. Ouyang Qingxiang knew that these metals were very useful to Lu Ming, so she gave them all to Lu Ming. She only accepted some divine crystals as a token of appreciation. Just as Lu Ming and the rest were searching on this planet, on the other side, the Paragon Saint and Fuck Siko had already found Mo Juye and the rest. Paragon Saint, you actually dared to take the initiative to find us. Aren't you afraid that I will attack and make you stay? Mo Juye sneered as he looked at the Paragon Saint and the rest. A trace of killing intent flashed in his eyes. The Paragon Saint and Fuck Siko's expressions changed slightly. However, they were not ordinary people and quickly calmed down. Mo Juye, to you, we are not a threat at all. The real threat to you is Lu Ming, the Paragon Saint said. Lu Ming. You think that kid is a threat to me? A trace of cold light flashed in Mo Juye's eyes, revealing his strong confidence. That's right. Without a doubt, the divine power that Lu Ming controls is also divine power. Moreover, he has mastered several extremely terrifying secret techniques. His combat strength is amazing. If his cultivation level increases, he may be able to fight you. Also, he already has an array plate in his hands. The Paragon Saint said. Chapter 2898. Oh, there's an array plate. Mo Juye's eyes lit up. He looked at the Supreme Saint with a faint smile and said, Supreme Universe, I know you want to use me to get rid of Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming has repeatedly offended the Mystic Academy and killed our saint. He deserves to die. Even if you didn't say it, I would still kill him. Hee. I'm not borrowing your hand, but cooperating. We'll work together to get rid of Lu Ming. You can have the array plate, and we'll both take what we need. The Supreme Saint said. Whatever. Tell me, where is Lu Ming? Mo Juye said indifferently. He's on that planet. The Supreme Saint pointed at the fiery red planet in the sky. All right, let's go to that planet. A cold light flashed in Mo Juye's eyes. He took the lead and flew towards the planet where Lu Ming was. At the same time, the other experts of the Mystic Academy also followed Mo Juye. Lu Ming, let's see how you're going to die this time. A cold light flashed in the Supreme Saint's eyes. Then, he, Fuck Siko, and the others followed the people of the Mystic Academy and rushed towards the planet where Lu Ming was. Not long after, Mo Juye, the Supreme Saint, and the others landed on the planet where Lu Ming was. However, they couldn't find any traces of Lu Ming and the others. Could it be that Lu Ming and the others have already left this planet? One of the Mystic Academy's Sky Pride asked. I don't think so. They just arrived on this planet not long ago. They must have spent some time searching. It's just that this planet is very big, and we haven't met them yet. The Supreme Saint said. Then we'll split up. Four-eyed, you take a few people and move together with Supreme Universe and the others. I'll take a few people with me. Remember, once you meet Lu Ming and the others, send me a message immediately. Don't let him escape. Mo Juyi instructed. Yes, once we meet Lu Ming, he won't be able to escape. Four-eyed Emptiness was full of confidence. Autark Cosmos's eyes flickered, but he didn't say anything. He knew that this was the best arrangement. Four-eyed Empty Space's battle prowess wasn't any weaker than his. If he and Four-eyed Empty Space worked together, they wouldn't need to fear Lu Ming. Once Mo Juyi arrived, Lu Ming would be dead for sure. After splitting the spoils, Mo Juyi left with the other Sky Prides. Four-eyed Hollow Court and Sovereign of the Universe took some people and set off in another direction. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang were completely unaware that the Paragon Saint had already joined forces with the Mystic Academy and attacked this planet. They continued their search on the planet. There really weren't any living beings on this planet. They could only search around in the dark. It had to be said that their luck was really good. 2 days later, they found an altar in a canyon. Above the altar, there was a bronze array plate floating. There were only 12 array plates in total. They actually found another one. Their luck was really amazing. The two of them were overjoyed. Just as they were about to fly over and take the array plate, a few figures rushed towards them at an astonishing speed. In the blink of an eye, they appeared in front of Lu Ming and blocked their way. Autark Cosmos, it's you again. Four-eyed Hollow Court, why are you guys together? Ouyang Qingxiang's expression changed drastically when she saw them. Send a message to the Divine Sun. Four-eyed Hollow Court ordered one of the Mystic Academy's Sky Prides to send a message to Mo Juyi. Meanwhile, his 4 eyes were glaring coldly at Lu Ming. He, Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang. Let's see where you can escape this time. The Paragon Saint's figure flashed and appeared behind Lu Ming and the others, blocking their path of retreat. Autark Cosmos, you're joining forces with the Mystic Academy? You're going against our Kongxian School's disciples? Ouyang Qingxiang shouted angrily. Her expression was ugly as she looked around. She was afraid that Mo Juyi would be nearby. That would be dangerous. However, Ouyang Qingxiang heaved a sigh of relief when she didn't see Mo Juyi. Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, who asked you to be so stubborn to go against me? You deserve to die. The Paragon Saint roared ferociously. Then, he said to Four-eyed Hollow Court, Four-eyed Hollow Court, let's attack together and delay Lu Ming. There's no need for us to join forces against a mere Lu Ming. Autark Cosmos, I think you're becoming more and more useless. Let me do it. Four-eyed Hollow Court looked at the Paragon Saint with disdain. He could clearly sense that Lu Ming was only a true immortal realm cultivator. He didn't believe that a true immortal realm cultivator would be able to fight against him. Boom. Four-eyed Hollow Court emitted a berserk aura. Vast divine force surged out. 6th level Heavenly God Realm, Four-eyed Hollow Court's cultivation base was the same as the Paragon Saint's. He was also a Heavenly God Realm cultivator, and he could control Saint-grade divine force. Kill. Four-eyed Hollow Court waved his hand, and spear lights shot out from his fingers. They were sharp and resplendent as they attacked Lu Ming. Ancient God Art, Space Splitter. In an instant, Lu Ming used the Ancient God Art and transformed into the Ancient God Body. The long spear in his hand constantly stabbed out, destroying Four-eyed Hollow Court's spear lights. Ancient God Body, you've also cultivated the Ancient God Body. Four-eyed Hollow Court roared in disbelief. His 4 eyes were filled with envy and jealousy. With a loud roar, he turned into a ray of light and attacked Lu Ming. At the same time, his 4 eyes shone brightly. Then, 4 terrifying beams of light burst forth and charged toward Lu Ming. They were extremely powerful. Void Break, Void Break. Lu Ming continuously executed the first move of the 3 Armageddon strikes. His long spear vibrated, and in an instant, terrifying spear lights were thrust out, blocking Four-eyed Hollow Court's attacks. So strong, how is this possible? Four-eyed Hollow Court was dumbfounded. He finally knew why the Paragon Saint was defeated by Lu Ming. It wasn't because the Paragon Saint was trash, but because Lu Ming was too monstrous. Lu Ming executed the godly dragon aspect art, and used all kinds of methods to attack Four-Eyed Hollow Court. Four-Eyed Hollow Court's battle strength was indeed very strong. He was not weaker than Paragon Universe, especially the attacks from his 4 eyes. They were extremely terrifying, and even Lu Ming was wary of them. In an instant, the two had exchanged more than 10 blows. The more they fought, the more shocked Four-Eyed Hollow Court was as he felt that he was no match for Lu Ming. Paragon Universe, let's attack together. Four-Eyed Hollow Court roared. I already told you, let's attack together. Paragon Universe sneered, then turned into Paragon Vaja and attacked Lu Ming. The two of them joined forces, and for a moment, Lu Ming was suppressed. On the other side, the others attacked Ouyang Qingxiang, putting her in imminent danger. I can't stay here for long. Lu Ming had many thoughts in his mind and decided to leave first. Paragon Universe and Four-Eyed Hollow Court were not Lu Ming's opponents by themselves. But when the two of them joined forces, Lu Ming was no match for them. At most, he could only protect himself. Chapter 2899. Even if Lu Ming could protect himself, Ouyang Qingxiang was still in danger. That was why Lu Ming couldn't be bothered to fight with her. Explode! Explode! Lu Ming's heart stirred. The 3 9-clawed divine dragon Dharma appearances exploded with a loud bang, forming a terrifying wave of energy. In an instant, the Supreme King Kong transformed by the Paragon Saint was forced to retreat continuously. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Lu Ming charged out of the encirclement and charged toward Ouyang Qingxiang. At this moment, Ouyang Qingxiang was fully focused on defense. Green lotus flowers floated around her, blocking the attacks, but she was still in imminent danger. That was because there were people in the Mystic Academy stronger than her. Even if she focused on defense, she was still in danger. Scram! At this moment, Lu Ming arrived. His spear pressed down, turning into a dozen huge spear images that pressed down like a mountain range. Rumble. The spear light pressed down, causing a terrifying vibration. Fuck Siko, the holy son of Ji Xia, the holy son of Yang Sky, the holy daughter of Shuatan, and the other 6 holy sons and holy daughters of the Mystic Academy all had a change in expression. With a roar, each of them unleashed their strongest attacks at Lu Ming. Boom! 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 Terrifying vibrations erupted, and more than 10 figures were pushed back. Saint Sun Fu Guang and the rest of the top 10 experts were blasted back by Lu Ming's one move. They were at least 100 meters away. A few of them with weaker cultivation levels even trembled and spat out a mouthful of blood. How terrifying! The same thought appeared in their minds. They were also holy sons, but even with so many of them working together, they were still pushed back by Lu Ming. Some of them were even injured. Lu Ming's strength shocked them. Let's go. Lu Ming dashed past. A stream of divine power wrapped around Ouyang Qingxiang and they dashed forward. Where do you think you're going? Chase. The Paragon Universe and Four-Eyed Emptiness roared as they chased after Lu Ming. The others followed closely behind. In the blink of an eye, the two sides had traveled several thousand li. However, Lu Ming was even faster. He was like a rock flying through the air, constantly pulling away from Paragon Cosmos, Four-Eyed Hollow Temple, and the others. Damn it! The universe supremacy roared. The killing intent in his heart was extremely dense. Lu Ming had to die. Otherwise, the fact that he had colluded with the Mystic Academy to kill Lu Ming would definitely be exposed. When that time came, even if he had someone backing him up, he would never be able to make a name for himself in the Kongxian school. He would be despised by everyone. Therefore, he must kill Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang. Don't worry, just let him run in this direction. His eyes were empty, but his face was calm. Could it be in that direction? A thought occurred to Autark Cosmos Master, and his eyes lit up. That's right. Mo Juyi is coming from that direction. If he runs in that direction, he'll be walking right into the trap. So, we just have to keep chasing from behind and let him run forward. Four-Eyed Emptiness sneered. That's great. Autark Cosmos Master was overjoyed. Of course, their conversation was through telepathy. They were afraid that Lu Ming would hear them. The chase continued for another half an hour. The distance between the two parties had widened. Autarch Cosmos Master and the others could barely see Lu Ming's figure. Not good. Lu Ming, stop. At this moment, Jiu Mo's voice rang out. What's wrong? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He could not help but stop. There's an expert in front of us. He's very strong. You're definitely not his match. He's fast. He's almost there. Quickly change direction. Jiu Mo said loudly. He was a little anxious. Could it be Mo Juyi? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. The first thing he thought of was Mo Juyi. Since Four-Eyed Emptiness and the others had appeared, Mo Juyi was probably on this planet as well. Without thinking, Lu Ming immediately changed direction and rushed to the left. Damn it, why did he change direction? Did he discover Mo Juyi? After him. Four-Eyed Emptiness shouted angrily and chased in Lu Ming's direction. Rumble. Lu Ming had just changed direction and ran for a short distance when he sensed a terrifying aura coming from the direction he had come from. The speed of the aura was extremely shocking. When it first appeared, it was still far away. In a few breaths, it appeared not far away. It's Mo Juyi. Lu Ming looked around and saw Mo Juyi's figure. A layer of black light appeared outside Mo Juyi's body, making him look like a dark cloud. He chased after Lu Ming at an astonishing speed. His speed was even faster than Lu Ming's. The distance between him and Lu Ming was constantly closing. At first, the two parties were still a few thousand miles apart. Soon, the distance between them was less than 1,000 miles. After running for a while, the distance between the two parties was less than 300 miles. If this continued, Lu Ming would be caught soon. Lu Ming, die. Mo Juyi's cold voice sounded. The black light around his body surged and turned into a pitch-black claw. It crossed the distance of a few hundred miles and grabbed at Lu Ming. Divine Dragon Dharma Laksana. Lu Ming used the Divine Dragon Dharma Laksana. 3 huge 9-clawed dragons condensed and pounced at Mo Juyi's claw. Child's play. Break. Mo Juyi shouted coldly as the pitch-black claw came down. Bam! 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 With 3 booming sounds, the 3 9-clawed Divine Dragon Dharma characteristics collapsed. They were unable to stop the black claws at all. The black claws continued to move toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's face changed. He turned around and used all his strength to attack. Lu Ming used the second move of the 3 annihilating strikes, moon slashing. Holding the spear with both hands, he slashed down. A crescent-shaped spear light blasted at the pitch-black claw. When the crescent-shaped spear light struck the pitch-black claw, there was a violent explosion. The crescent-shaped spear light trembled and then exploded. Lu Ming felt an incomparably powerful force surging from his spear. His body shook violently and his huge body frantically retreated. Puff! Lu Ming spat out a mouthful of blood. He also felt a pitch-black energy covering his body. It had a terrifying corrosive power that wanted to corrode his body. What a terrifying divine power! Lu Ming's face was grave. The 6 divine fires in his body revolved at full power. Divine power rushed to the surface of his body to block the incoming divine power. Mo Juyi's divine power was a type of divine-grade divine power. Its power was astonishing. Let's go. Lu Ming did not stop. While blocking the divine power, he ran forward. You have some strength, but it's not enough. Kill. Mo Juyi shouted coldly and launched another attack from a distance. Lu Ming ran forward while blocking the attacks. Mo Juyi's strength was truly astonishing. Lu Ming could already sense that Mo Juyi's cultivation was at the 6th level of the heavenly god realm. However, he controlled a divine-grade divine power. His strength was much stronger than the likes of the Sovereign Universe and Four-Eyed Empyrean. Lu Ming was not his opponent at all. Even if he was attacking from a distance, the power was still astonishing. Chapter 2900. Although Mo Juyi's cultivation was only at the 6th level of the heavenly god realm, which was on par with Sovereign Universe and Four-Eyed Empyrean, his battle prowess far surpassed theirs. Even after exchanging a few blows, Lu Ming felt that he was far from being Mo Juyi's match. After a few moves, Lu Ming's blood boiled, and blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. The distance between him and Mo Juyi was rapidly closing. That kid is dead for sure. Behind him, Sovereign Universe was overjoyed, and he increased his speed to chase after Lu Ming. He wanted to join forces with Mo Juyi to attack Lu Ming. This can't go on. Lu Ming's thoughts raced. If this continued, Mo Juyi would catch up to him soon. When Sovereign Universe and Four-Eyed Empyrean caught up, Lu Ming wouldn't be able to escape even if he had wings. Only death awaited him. Lu Ming, there is only one way now. Fly in the direction of the star, toward the planet closest to the star. The gravitational force will be stronger as it is closer to the star. The environment there will definitely be more complicated. You will then have a chance to escape. Bone Devil's voice sounded. He was very knowledgeable, and quickly came up with a plan. All right. Lu Ming did not hesitate, and struck out with his spear. A huge spear light collided with Mo Juyi's attack. Lu Ming's body shook violently, but at the same time, Lu Ming borrowed the momentum to soar into the sky. The cry of a Kuan Peng resounded as Lu Ming executed the Nine Heavens Kuan Peng art. Abundant God Force formed a Kuan Peng on the surface of Lu Ming's body. With a flap of its wings, the Kuan Peng soared 90,000 li into the sky, rushing towards the planet closest to the star. You want to escape? Dream on. Mo Juyi reacted, and his figure also soared into the sky, chasing after Lu Ming. Behind him, Sovereign Universe, Four-Eyed Empyrean, and the rest also soared into the sky, chasing after Lu Ming. Rushing out of the starry sky, Lu Ming executed the Nine Heavens Kuan Peng art with all his might, and his speed became even faster. For a moment, Mo Juyi actually couldn't catch up to Lu Ming. The two sides, one fleeing and the other chasing, crossed a long distance, and rapidly approached the planet closest to the star. From afar, the planet closest to the star was fiery red, as if it was shrouded in a layer of fiery red clouds. It was a dazzling sight. Very soon, Lu Ming was not far from the planet. Lu Ming, even if you run to the ends of the earth, you'll still die. Mo Ju's Ruyi chased after Lu Ming Empyrean. He heavens earth's you. Heaven, his heaven heaven earth's earth planet 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 planets heaven heaven. Heaven earth 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 SSS level Empyrean level heaven heaven? What a terrifying gravitational force. Lu Ming revealed a shocked expression. The gravitational force of this planet was beyond Lu Ming's imagination. It was extremely terrifying. Even Lu Ming almost fell for it due to his carelessness. But before Lu Ming could recover, a gale attacked Lu Ming. Its speed was extremely shocking, and before Lu Ming could react, he was swept away by the gale. Hot. That was Lu Ming's first thought. This gale was incomparably hot, and its temperature was even more terrifying than lava. Lu Ming felt a burning sensation on his skin. Lu Ming hastily circulated his divine energy to resist. Only then did he feel a bit better. However, this gale's power was too shocking. Even if Lu Ming wanted to use his full power to charge out, he was unable to do so. He could only be swept away by the gale. Behind him, Mo Juyi had followed Lu Ming into this planet. But his fate was the same as Lu Ming's. As soon as he charged in, he was also swept away by the gale. Unable to control himself, he was swept away in a different direction from Lu Ming. After Mo Juyi, Sovereign Universe, Four-Eyed Empyrean, Fuxiko, and the others all charged into this planet. But those with weaker cultivation bases were even more miserable. They were unable to control themselves, and they were sucked in by the terrifying gravitational force. They fell to the ground, heavily injured. As for those with higher cultivation bases, although they were able to resist the gravitational force, they were swept away by the gale. It was unknown where they were sent flying. The group of people had all scattered. Lu Ming was swept along by the gale. He didn't know how far he had flown. Slowly, the gale's power weakened, and Lu Ming took the opportunity to charge out of the gale and fly back to the ground. Bang! Lu Ming landed heavily on the ground. The hardness of the ground here was even more astonishing. It was several times harder than the ground of the previous few planets. The powerful gravitational force was constantly acting on Lu Ming's body, forcing Lu Ming to constantly circulate his divine power to resist. Lu Ming was on guard. But after waiting for a while, nothing happened. It seems that the gale only exists in the sky of this planet. It's relatively rare on the ground. As long as I avoid it carefully, I should be fine. Lu Ming pondered, and then released his right palm. Ouyang Qingxiang was sitting cross-legged on Lu Ming's palm. At this moment, Lu Ming was in his ancient god body. He was a few hundred meters tall, and his palm was incomparably huge. It was very easy for him to hold Ouyang Qingxiang. Lu Ming, are you okay? Where are Mo Juyi and the others? Ouyang Qingxiang quickly asked. I got rid of them, Lu Ming said. As he spoke, Lu Ming's body quickly shrank to the size of an ordinary person. Then, he felt a wave of weakness. In the previous battle, Lu Ming had been maintaining his ancient god body for a long time, which consumed a lot of his physical strength. Then, the two of them randomly chose a direction and ran. Soon, they found a secluded place where the two of them temporarily rested. A few days later, the two of them had recovered to their peak state. Only then did they leave this place and move forward. Soon, the two of them had a harvest. Lu Ming found a few pieces of strange metal. In the next few days, the two of them continued to harvest. There were actually a lot of precious metals on this planet. Lu Ming's face was full of smiles. This planet was the closest to the star, so it was the most affected by the formation. It was indeed extraordinary. Caw. Suddenly, a sharp cry came from ahead. Is there a living creature? Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang were stunned. Listening to the sound, it seemed to be the cry of a bird. But on this planet, in such a harsh environment, there were still living creatures. The two of them were very curious and flew in the direction of the sound. Boom. Boom. Soon, the two of them heard a violent roar. Someone was fighting. The two of them quickly concealed their aura. After flying for a while, they finally saw the situation clearly. 5 young men and women were engaged in a fierce battle with 3 giant birds. They are from the Chong Lu sect. Ouyang Qingxiang recognized the origin of the 5 people at a glance. They were the geniuses of the Chong Lu sect, one of the top 10 sects in the Qin Tian 13 sects. The Chong Lu sect was considered to be one of the top 10 sects. Of course, it was still a little inferior to the Kongxian school. The 5 people in front of them were very strong. 3 of them were saints. The strongest one was not weaker than Ouyang Qingxiang. Chapter 2901. The 5 of them were fighting against 3 large snow-white birds with a wingspan of more than 50 meters. No, they're not real creatures. They're made of energy. Lu Ming's eyes moved. He could see that the 3 large birds were not living creatures at all. They were made of energy and had no aura of life. Chong Lu flying snow. The 5 young men and women from Chong Lu sect were all using a battle axe with amazing power. The battle axe completely suppressed the 3 large birds. Especially the black-robed young man whose strength was not weaker than Ouyang Qingxiang. He chopped down with his battle axe and chopped off a large bird's wing. Kill. The black-robed young man shouted and swung his battle axe horizontally with the power to split open the sky. The large bird's head was chopped off and its body collapsed directly. To Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang's surprise, the large bird turned into a stream of energy after it collapsed and poured into the black-robed young man's body. The black-robed young man looked satisfied and excited. Kill. Then, the black-robed young man attacked the other 2 large birds. Not long after, the remaining 2 giant birds were slain. Similar to the previous one, the 2 giant birds collapsed and turned into streams of energy that were absorbed by the 5 young men and women. Awesome, this is awesome. If this goes on, our cultivation will break through soon. A young woman's face was filled with excitement. Yes, I don't know what these large birds are. After killing them, we can absorb their energy. This is a great opportunity. Let's continue moving forward. The black-robed young man said. Then, the 5 of them continued moving forward. Soon, several large birds appeared and pounced on the black-robed young man and his group. What a waste. They're simply wasting natural resources by absorbing it like that. I'm so angry. In the sea of consciousness, the quantifying character formula shouted unhappily. Old quantifying character, do you know what those large birds are? Lu Ming asked. Nonsense, of course I know. They're formed by the energy overflowing from the stellar core fragment. The energy of the stellar core fragment is extremely pure, so the energy overflowing from the stellar core fragment can be absorbed directly. The quantifying character formula said. Stellar core fragment. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. It was no wonder that the black-robed youths group of 5 were able to absorb the energy of that huge bird after killing it. It's a complete waste for them to absorb the energy like that. I'm afraid they can't even absorb half of the energy. The rest will dissipate. If it were me, I would definitely be able to absorb 100% of the energy. The quantifying formula said. Are you saying that there are stellar core fragments in this area? Lu Ming asked. That's right, kid. If you get the stellar core fragment, I'm confident that I can help you break through to the heavenly god realm in a short time, the quantifying formula said. I must get the stellar core fragment. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with brilliance. As Lu Ming was about to rush out and chase the black-robed young man away so that he could claim the place for himself, a few beams of light rapidly approached him from the distance. It's him, Four-Eyed Emptiness. Lu Ming glanced around and found that the newcomer was the peerless prodigy of the Mystic Academy, Four-Eyed Emptiness. There were also a few other peerless prodigies of the Mystic Academy. The black-robed young man and the others also noticed Four-Eyed Emptiness and the others, and their faces darkened. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Four-Eyed Emptiness and the others hovered in the air and looked at the large birds with greed. These are formed by the energy of the stellar core fragment. Ha ha ha, there's a stellar core fragment here. Four-Eyed Emptiness roared in his heart and his eyes were filled with greed. As a peerless prodigy of the 3 overlords, he naturally had a broad vision. He could tell that these large birds were formed by the energy of the stellar core fragment. This was a great opportunity. You can all scram now. This place is mine. Four-Eyed Emptiness said coldly. Four-Eyed Emptiness, we found this place first. Don't you think it's too overbearing to chase us away like this? The black-robed young man said with a dark face. Overbearing? Haha, you can stay here forever if you don't want to leave. Four-Eyed Emptiness sneered. You. The black-robed young man and the others were enraged. It was not easy for them to come across such an opportunity and they were unwilling to leave just like that. They quickly retreated and dodged the attacks of the large birds. However, they did not intend to leave. You still think you can get away with this? How foolish. Then I'll send you on your way. Four-Eyed Emptiness shouted coldly. His 4 eyes opened and shot out 4 beams of light towards the black-robed young man and the others. Chong Lu flying snow. The black-robed young man roared in anger and continuously slashed out with his battle axe. More than a dozen axe radiances slashed towards the beams of light shot out by Four-Eyed Emptiness. Bam! Bam! After a few violent explosions, the black-robed young man's body shook violently. He retreated continuously and spat out a mouthful of blood. He was no match for Four-Eyed Emptiness. It was just like how Ouyang Qingxiang could not withstand more than a few moves from Supreme Universe Master. Haha, Four-Eyed Emptiness, you're really impressive. At this moment, a cold laugh was heard from afar. Then, a few sword radiances flashed rapidly. In the next moment, a few more figures appeared in the area. The few young men carried long swords on their backs. The one in the lead had sharp eyebrows and eagle-like eyes. He looked extraordinary. Zhuo Budong. Four-Eyed Emptiness's gaze turned cold and solemn. It's him. He's an extremely powerful sky pride from Invincible Ken's. His second only to the Invincible Ken's divine son, Infinite Sword Dao. His strength is not any weaker than Supreme Universe Master. Ouyang Qingxiang's face also turned solemn as she transmitted her voice to Lu Ming. Lu Ming nodded. He also felt a terrifying sword will from this person. When the black-robed young man and the others saw Zhuo Budong appear, their faces turned even uglier. Four-Eyed Emptiness and Zhuo Budong appeared one after another. The opportunities in this place had nothing to do with them. How lucky. There really is a stellar core fragment in this place. Haha, it's mine. Zhuo Budong laughed loudly. He was full of confidence and greed. It's yours. Zhuo Budong, You're really overconfident. Four-eyed Emptiness sneered. Four-eyed Emptiness, are you trying to stop me? The outside world has always regarded me as your equal. Today, I'll see what right you have to be my equal, Zhuo Budong said coldly. As soon as he finished speaking, a terrifying sword will rose from his body. With a clang, he unsheathed his sword and a snow-white sword radiance shot towards Four-eyed Emptiness. Four-eyed Sky Fixing. Four-eyed Emptiness shouted. His 4 eyes were like 4 suns, emitting a dazzling radiance. Then, 4 beams of light burst out and turned into 4 long spears that shot towards Zhuo Budong. Clang, clang, clang. The sword radiance and the destructive beam collided continuously, erupting with terrifying sound waves. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had exchanged dozens of blows. After that, both of them retreated at the same time. They were evenly matched. Chapter 2902. Four-eyed Hollow and Zhuo Budong looked at each other from a distance. Both of them looked solemn. For a moment, no one made a move. They knew that if they were to fight, it would take a long time to determine the winner. Moreover, if both of them were injured, the black-robed young man and his companions would take advantage of the situation. Quack. At this moment, several large birds chirped and pounced on Four-eyed Hollow and Zhuo Budong respectively. Clang. Swoosh. Four-eyed Hollow and Zhuo Budong attacked at the same time. In an instant, the birds were killed by them and turned into rolling energy that surged into their bodies and was absorbed by them. Awesome. This is awesome. Four-eyed Hollow was intoxicated. Zhuo Budong was the same. After absorbing these large birds, their cultivation would increase rapidly. Absorbing one large bird was equivalent to 1,000 years of cultivation. What could be more awesome than this? Four-eyed Hollow, how about we have a fair competition for the stellar core fragments here? Whoever gets them will get them. What do you think? Zhuo Budong stared at Four-eyed Hollow and said. Okay, let's do that. But before that, we still need to get rid of some irrelevant people. Four-eyed Hollow finished his words and glanced coldly at the black-robed young man and his companions. That's right. Get lost, or die. Zhuo Budong said coldly. The black-robed young man and his companions looked terrible, but they did not dare to refute. In this world, strength was respected. If one talked too much without strength, death was the only way out. Let's go. The black-robed young man shouted angrily and turned to leave. Although the other 4 geniuses of the Chonglu sect were unwilling, they could only leave with the black-robed young man. There are 2 more ants. Why? Are you still not leaving? After the black-robed young man and his companions left, Four-eyed Hollow looked in the direction of Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang and said coldly. It seems that we have been discovered. Lu Ming smiled faintly and stepped out with Ouyang Qingxiang. Lu Ming, it's you. Four-eyed Hollow shouted angrily after seeing Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang. Four-eyed Hollow's eyes flickered with cold killing intent. Lu Ming, it's you. Ha ha ha, good, very good. In the ancient god world, you killed one of the holy princes of the invincible Kens. Now, leave your life behind. A terrifying sword will rushed out of Zhuo Budong's body. As soon as he finished speaking, a snow-white sword light rushed towards Lu Ming with terrifying power. Without any hesitation, Lu Ming displayed the ancient god tactics and transformed into a green-armored ancient god. He lashed out with his spear and defeated Zhuo Budong's sword light. Kill! Lu Ming yelled. His fighting spirit soared to the sky. Under the support of quadruple combat strength, Lu Ming was full of power. Holding the long spear, he charged towards Zhuo Budong. Zhuo Budong's pupils contracted. Obviously, Lu Ming's strength had far exceeded his expectations. Undying Sword Dao! Zhuo Budong yelled and unleashed a terrifying divine skill, charging towards Lu Ming. Boom! Boom! In the blink of an eye, the two had exchanged more than 10 moves. The others could only see the sword light and spear light in the sky. In the beginning, the sword light and spear light were evenly matched. But after a few breaths, the spear light began to suppress the sword light. The sword light vibrated non-stop and finally exploded with a boom. A figure could be seen retreating. The one who retreated was naturally Zhuo Budong. How is this possible? Zhuo Budong's eyes were filled with disbelief. He never expected Lu Ming's strength to be so powerful that even he was no match for him. Four-Eyed Hollow had fought with Lu Ming before, so he was not too surprised. Zhuo Budong, this Lu Ming is really abnormal. I'm afraid you can't take him down alone. How about we join forces to kill this person together? Four-Eyed Hollow said to Zhuo Budong. Okay. Zhuo Budong nodded and emitted a terrifying sword will. Four-Eyed Hollow and Zhuo Budong formed a triangle and forced their way towards Lu Ming. The two of you want to join forces to kill me. Good, very good. But do you think it's easy to kill me? If I go all out, I can drag one of you down with me. Even if I can't kill you, I can at least seriously injure you. If one of you is seriously injured, will the other let him go? Lu Ming sneered. As soon as these words came out, Four-Eyed Hollow and Zhuo Budong's figures stopped immediately. They looked at each other and saw the vigilance in each other's eyes. Lu Ming was right. Even if the two of them joined forces to deal with Lu Ming, with Lu Ming's strength, it was not impossible for him to drag one of them down with him if he fought back before death. Even if he couldn't kill him, he could definitely seriously injure him. If one of them was seriously injured, would the other let him go? It was impossible. Who didn't want to monopolize the stellar core fragment? For a moment, the two of them did not make a move. Lu Ming, don't try to drive a wedge between us. Four-Eyed Hollow said in a deep voice. Haha, drive a wedge between us? I'm just telling the truth. If you want to fight, I'll keep you company. Lu Ming sneered. Four-Eyed Hollow and Zhuo Budong still did not make a move. They naturally knew that what Lu Ming said was indeed the truth. For a moment, the three sides were in a deadlock. Anyone who sees the stellar core fragment will have a share. Let's compete fairly. Whoever can get it will have it. How about that? When the others arrive, we won't have a share, especially the divine princes. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Four-Eyed Hollow and Zhuo Budong's eyes flashed. They were obviously persuaded. In the Mystic Academy or Invincible Kens, the divine princes and divine princes were also competitors, just like the Kongxian school. Four-Eyed Hollow had always been suppressed by Mo Juye. It would be a lie to say that he didn't want to replace and defeat Mo Juye. If Mo Juye found this place, the stellar core fragment would definitely be monopolized by Mo Juye. How could he have a share? Compared to killing Lu Ming, obtaining the opportunity for himself was more important. Alright, let's compete fairly. The stellar core fragment will belong to whoever has the strength and the opportunity. Four-Eyed Hollow finally compromised. After saying that, he led the people of the Mystic Academy and rushed forward. Let's go. Zhuo Budong couldn't fall behind. He also led the other Sky Prides of the Invincible Kens and rushed forward. Let's go too. Lu Ming nodded at Ouyang Qingxiang. The two of them also moved forward in a flash. Not long after they walked in this direction, a large bird swooped out and attacked them. Kill. Lu Ming waved his long spear and pressed down. A large bird was killed by Lu Ming. Suddenly, the large bird collapsed and turned into rolling energy that rushed into Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming, let me do it first. I'll pass it to you after I devour it, the measure formula said. Then, a powerful suction force erupted and devoured the energy that the large bird had turned into. In the next moment, an incomparably pure energy surged out of the measure formula and poured into Lu Ming's limbs and bones. Lu Ming circulated the universe myriad Dao arts to absorb this energy and convert it into divine power. Chapter 2903. In just a few breaths, Lu Ming had completely absorbed and refined this energy. Lu Ming felt that his divine power had become much richer and purer. Of course, there was still a long way to go before he reached the heavenly god realm. It's really rich energy. Lu Ming sighed. Of course, after I absorbed it, I can fully utilize it. Others can only absorb half of it at most. The quantifying character formula said proudly. Lu Ming smiled. Without any delay, he waved his long spear and killed another big bird, then continued to absorb its energy. At this moment, Ouyang Qingxiang had also killed a big bird and absorbed its energy. The divine power in her body had also become stronger. Cultivating by killing this kind of big bird was many times faster than cultivating normally. On the other side, four-eyed emptiness, zhuobuting, and the others were also increasing their speed to kill the big birds and absorb their energy. After absorbing the energy, they continued to move forward. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang also moved forward after killing a few big birds. As they went deeper, the number of big birds also increased. They knew that the stellar core fragment must be in front of them. Although the strength of these big birds was quite strong, they were still hunted down by experts like Lu Ming, four-eyed emptiness, and zhuobuting. Lu Ming continued to go deeper and deeper as the big birds were killed one by one. Caw caw caw. Suddenly, there was a burst of ear-piercing sounds in front of them. Lu Ming and the others also narrowed their eyes, revealing a shocked expression as they looked ahead in a daze. There was a huge canyon in front of them, but at the mouth of the canyon and above the canyon, there were countless big birds flying. At a glance, the number was definitely no less than 1,000. They covered the sky and blocked the sun, blocking the light in this area. So many. Someone's voice was dry. Lu Ming, four-eyed emptiness, and zhuobuting naturally did not care about this kind of big bird. However, if so many of them attacked together, even they would have a hard time. The stellar core fragment must be in this canyon. Four-eyed emptiness eyes revealed deep greed. What should we do? There are so many big birds. How can we get in? Zhuobudong muttered to himself. His mind was spinning as he tried to think of a way to get rid of the others while keeping the stellar core fragment for himself. Lu Ming, I have a way to help you get in. At this moment, the quantifying formula spoke again. You have a way. What is it? Lu Ming's eyes lit up and he secretly communicated with the measure formula. These giant birds are the condensation of energy from the fragments of the star core. They don't seem to have any intelligence. They only have one instinct. As for me, I am the origin ancient character quantity. I am the origin of all energy and can devour all energy. As long as I release my aura, those giant birds made of energy will definitely not dare to approach you. The quantifying formula said. So simple. Lu Ming was stunned. It's that simple. The measure formula said with a resolute tone. All right. Lu Ming secretly nodded. He already had an idea in his mind. Four-eyed Hollow and Zhuobudong, it seems that we have to join forces to rush in. At this moment, Lu Ming spoke to Four-eyed Hollow and Zhuobudong. Join forces? Four-eyed Hollow and Zhuobudong's eyes flashed. Yes, let's join forces. After rushing in, we'll seize the fragments of the stellar core with our own abilities. Lu Ming said. Okay, I agree. Me too. Four-eyed Hollow and Zhuobudong nodded. After making up their minds, they were ready to take action. Qingxiang, wait a minute. You have to follow me closely. Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Ouyang Qingxiang. Ouyang Qingxiang nodded silently and followed Lu Ming closely. Kill. Suddenly, Lu Ming shouted and rushed toward the flock of giant birds at the entrance of the canyon. At the same time, Four-eyed Hollow and Zhuobudong also rushed toward the entrance of the canyon. Caw, caw, caw. As soon as they moved, the giant birds also noticed them and moved together. They let out sharp screeches and pounced toward Lu Ming and the others. Lu Ming shouted and waved his long spear to kill those giant birds. Four-eyed Hollow and Zhuobudong also attacked with all their might. However, there were too many giant birds. It was easier said than done to rush in. However, because of this, Zhuobudong and Four-eyed Hollow and the others attracted a large number of giant birds. Old measure, now's the time. Lu Ming sent a message to the measure formula. Watch me. The voice of the measure formula was heard. At the same time, the measure formula glowed and a mysterious aura was emitted, shrouding Lu Ming. Originally, there were a few giant birds pouncing toward Lu Ming. Suddenly, they sensed the aura of the measure formula and their eyes were filled with fear. They directly flew away from Lu Ming. It's really effective. Qingxiang, follow me. Lu Ming pulled Ouyang Qingxiang's small hand. The aura of the measure formula followed Ouyang Qingxiang's small hand and covered her entire body. The surrounding giant birds also directly ignored Ouyang Qingxiang and did not pounce toward her. When Lu Ming pulled her small hand, Ouyang Qingxiang's delicate body began to tremble and her face turned red. However, in the next moment, her beautiful eyes were filled with astonishment. Because she realized that the giant birds were not pouncing toward her. They directly ignored her and pounced toward Four-Eyed Hollow and Zhuo Budong. Ouyang Qingxiang was extremely surprised. She knew that all this was because of Lu Ming. Her curiosity toward Lu Ming grew even stronger. Let's go. Lu Ming held Ouyang Qingxiang's small hand and rushed into the canyon. Not a single giant bird stopped him. Damn it. How is this possible? Four-Eyed Hollow and Zhuo Budong also noticed Lu Ming's strange behavior. It was simply unbelievable and they all roared. Lu Ming, stop right there. How dare you trick me? Four-Eyed Hollow and Zhuo Budong roared. Their murderous intent was as cold as a knife. You guys have fun. I won't keep you company. Lu Ming smiled indifferently and continued to rush forward with Ouyang Qingxiang. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared from Four-Eyed Hollow and the other's vision. Four-Eyed Hollow and Zhuo Budong roared again and again. Their murderous intent was as cold as a knife, but there was nothing they could do. Let's not fight with these giant birds. Save our strength and surround them. When that kid Lu Ming comes out, it will be his death. Four-Eyed Hollow said coldly. That's right. That kid dared to trick me. He's asking for it. Zhuo Budong's voice was also extremely cold. Immediately, they stopped fighting with the giant birds and retreated. When they had retreated a certain distance, the giant birds stopped chasing and flew back to the canyon. Four-Eyed Hollow and Zhuo Budong stood guard nearby, waiting for Lu Ming to come out so that they could kill Lu Ming. After Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang broke into the flock of giant birds, their vision suddenly widened. In the canyon, there was not a single giant bird. Those giant birds were only circling around the canyon entrance and above the canyon. As soon as Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang entered, their gazes were deeply attracted. In mid-air of the canyon, there was a ball of light suspended there, emitting a dazzling brilliance. Chapter 2904. A ball of light was floating in the canyon, emitting a dazzling radiance. Moreover, incomparably pure energy was constantly emitting from it. A star core fragment. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang's eyes were blazing. This was definitely a star core fragment. They had come to the right place. The two of them couldn't help but approach the star core fragment and finally see its full appearance. It was a crystal the size of a fingernail. It was sparkling and translucent. Although it was small in size, the energy it contained was incomparably terrifying, causing one's heart to tremble. It's so small. Lu Ming muttered. Kid, what do you know? A star core is the core of a star. The energy it contains is incomparably vast, but it's also incomparably pure and easy to absorb. It's a peerless treasure. Moreover, the star core here was forcefully refined by a great formation. Refining a star into a star core, the energy it contains is even more terrifying. Don't underestimate it. It's only a small piece, but it's enough for you to reach the heavenly god realm. The measure character formula's disdainful voice rang out. Then let's start. Lu Ming said. He could not wait any longer. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang immediately walked towards the star core fragment. The two of them sat down cross-legged and began to circulate their cultivation techniques to absorb the energy from the star core fragment. Lu Ming, I'll help you absorb it. It'll help you break through to the heavenly god realm faster. The measure character formula released a powerful suction force. The energy within the star core constantly surged towards Lu Ming. It was absorbed by the measure character formula and transformed into even purer energy that poured into Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming circulated the Heaven and Earth 10,000 Tao Sutra with all his might, absorbing and refining the energy. The energy within the star core was extremely pure. Even without the measure character formula, he could quickly refine it. With the help of the measure character formula, the refining speed was naturally faster. A steady stream of energy was transformed into divine power. Lu Ming's divine power rapidly rose. The 6 divine flames in his dantian burned fiercely. Lu Ming was charging towards the heavenly god realm at an astonishing speed. On the other side, Ouyang Qingxiang was also circulating her cultivation technique to absorb the energy of the stellar core fragment. However, her absorption speed was far from being comparable to Lu Ming's. Just like that, they cultivated for 7 days. After 7 days, the fingernail-sized stellar core fragment was almost completely absorbed by the two of them, leaving only the size of a speck of dust. Boom! At this moment, a powerful aura erupted from Ouyang Qingxiang. She had broken through to the 6th level of the celestial god realm. Ouyang Qingxiang had just broken through to the 5th level of the heavenly god realm not long ago, and she had already reached the 6th level of the heavenly god realm. This was all thanks to the stellar core fragment. However, the amount of energy Ouyang Qingxiang absorbed was still far from Lu Ming's. At the same time, Lu Ming's aura rose to its peak. 6 types of god power surged, shining with dazzling light as they circulated around Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's body was like a volcano that could erupt at any time. Boom! Finally, Lu Ming erupted. A shocking aura erupted from his body, and a powerful pressure spread out. This was the pressure of the heavenly god realm. Lu Ming's god power was of the divine grade. Moreover, he had 5 other types of god power. The amount of energy he needed to break through was much more than Ouyang Qingxiang's. At this moment, after absorbing the energy of the stellar core fragment, Lu Ming finally broke through the bottleneck and entered the heavenly god realm. As soon as he entered the heavenly god realm, Lu Ming's body emitted a powerful suction force. The energy of heaven and earth rushed towards Lu Ming even more violently. Poof! The last bit of the stellar core fragment let out a soft sound and completely shattered. It turned into energy and poured into Lu Ming's body. The moment the stellar core fragment shattered, the large birds around the canyon let out a cry and dispersed. All of them turned into energy and poured into Lu Ming's body. Their eyes were empty. Zhuo Butian and the rest had been waiting outside the canyon for Lu Ming to come out so that they could kill Lu Ming. At this moment, they suddenly saw the large birds disperse and were shocked. What's going on? That's Lu Ming. He's cultivating. Damn it, it must be the stellar core fragment. Lu Ming absorbed the stellar core fragment and caused the large birds to disperse. Kill him. When Four-Eyed Hollow Man and the rest saw Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang, they could easily guess what had happened based on the current situation. They roared furiously and their eyes turned red. They were simply envious and jealous. Kill. Zhuo Butian was the most direct. With a cold shout, a terrifying sword intent burst out. He and his sword became one and turned into a dazzling sword light that slashed towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming had absorbed the stellar core fragment. He wanted to grind Lu Ming's bones and scatter his ashes. The sword light was extremely fast and in the blink of an eye, it was close to Lu Ming. Lu Ming was at the critical moment of his breakthrough and was unable to resist. In fact, the current situation was beyond Lu Ming's expectations. He did not expect that the large birds would disperse after he absorbed the stellar core fragment. Green Lotus Sword Realm. Ouyang Qingxiang shouted and her delicate body emitted a dazzling green sword light. Green lotuses appeared in front of Lu Ming and thousands of sword chi slashed towards Zhuo Butian. Clang, clang, clang. The sword chi collided. In an instant, the sword chi from both sides had collided a few hundred times. After a few hundred times, the green lotuses dispersed and Zhuo Butian's body was blocked and stopped. You've broken through. Zhuo Butian stared at Ouyang Qingxiang with an ugly expression. It must be the stellar core fragment. She must have absorbed the energy of the fragment. Damn it, damn it. Four-Eyed Emptiness rushed over and roared in anger. He was going crazy with jealousy. In his opinion, it was a waste for Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang to absorb the stellar core fragment. It would be great if he could absorb the stellar core fragment. He would definitely be able to reach level 7 or even level 8 heavenly god. Then, he would not be afraid of Mo Juye and could even suppress Mo Juye to become the #1 expert among the younger generation of the Mystic Academy. However, his hope was shattered by Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang. So what if you've broken through? Kill. Zhuo Butian roared and his sword light shone even brighter as he charged towards Ouyang Qingxiang. Let's attack together and get rid of this bitch. Then, We'll kill Lu Ming. Four-eyed emptiness roared and attacked as well. Terrifying light beams shot out from his four eyes and charged towards Ouyang Qingxiang. Green Lotus Sword Realm. Ouyang Qingxiang roared again. The divine energy in her body was about to ignite. She unleashed all of her energy and formed a green lotus sword realm around herself and Lu Ming. Boundless sword chi gathered into a few giant green lotuses and enveloped the two of them, blocking the attacks from all directions. However, Ouyang Qingxiang's cultivation had just reached level 6 heavenly god. She was no match for four-eyed emptiness or Zhuo Butian alone, let alone the two of them working together. The moment their attacks collided, the green lotuses trembled violently. Ouyang Qingxiang groaned and her body trembled. She spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. Chapter 2905. Ouyang Qingxiang was sent flying. She fell to the ground with a pale face. Lu Ming. Ouyang Qingxiang exclaimed worriedly. You overestimate yourself. Lu Ming, go to hell. 4 pairs of eyes stared at Lu Ming. Their gazes were extremely cold. 4 destructive light beams burst forth and charged toward Lu Ming. If the beams hit, Lu Ming would surely die. At that instant, Lu Ming's eyes sprang open. His eyes flickered with a cold murderous intent. Whoosh, whoosh. 2 spear glows were fired from Lu Ming's hands. They were brighter than meteors. The spear glows shuddered, and the 4 destructive beams of the four-eyed hollow were dispersed. 8. A cry of agony echoed across the place. Following it, blood splashed as a figure backed away rapidly. The figure was none other than the four-eyed hollow. The four-eyed hollow was roaring crazily as if he had gone mad. 2 of his eyes had disappeared, replaced by 2 bloody holes. The eyes of the four-eyed hollow had been blinded by Lu Ming's attack. Lu Ming, you're courting death. I'm going to tear you into pieces, the four-eyed hollow roared. Four-eyed hollow master roared crazily. His body swelled up rapidly, turning into a giant worm. The worm was over 100 meters long. Its body was covered in disgusting tentacles. It was the four-eyed hollow's true form. As a matter of fact, the true forms of the multi-eyed tribe were not the same race, but different races. The four-eyed hollow transformed into his true form and lunged at Lu Ming, unleashing his full strength. Kill. Lu Ming said coldly. His body expanded rapidly, turning into a green-armored ancient god. He swung his spear horizontally. A strong god force suppressed the four-eyed hollow like a landslide. Bang! Lu Ming had now broken through to the first-layer heaven god realm, and even reached the peak of the first-layer heaven god realm. His god force was a lot stronger than before. The spear broke through the four-eyed hollow's attack and defense and landed on his body. Four-eyed hollow's huge body was blasted away, and a section of its body exploded, sending flesh and blood flying everywhere. You're the one who will die. Lu Ming's cold voice rang out. With a single step, he crossed 100 miles. His spear was like a shooting star as it pierced towards four-eyed hollow. Ah, Zhuo Budong, come and help me. Four-eyed hollow screamed in horror. At the same time, he erupted his strength to the extreme to resist Lu Ming. Clang. With the sound of a sword chime, Zhuo Budong made his move. The sword radiance was like the light of flying immortals, breaking through the void and chopping towards Lu Ming's head. Zhuo Budong was not the only one. The other prodigies from the Mystic Academy and the Invincible Kens also attacked Lu Ming at the same time. Humph! Lu Ming coldly snorted with a cold glint in his eyes. His left hand emitted a resplendent radiance as he punched towards Zhuo Budian. The moment he punched, 3 nine-clawed dragons flew out from Lu Ming's left fist. This was the divine dragon Dharma Laksana. As Lu Ming continued to comprehend the divine dragon Dharma Laksana, his understanding of the divine dragon Dharma Laksana grew deeper and deeper. He was able to use it with greater ease. With one punch, he could condense 3 divine dragon Dharma Laksana. The 3 divine dragon Dharma Laksana pounced towards Lu Ming. As for the other prodigy's attacks, Lu Ming ignored them and allowed them to attack him. Lu Ming's spear did not stop as he continued to stab Four-Eyed Hollow. Four-Eyed Hollow was shocked and furious. He unleashed all his strength and set up a series of defenses in front of him. However, when the spear pierced through, these defenses continuously shattered and exploded. Then, Lu Ming's spear pierced through Four-Eyed Hollow's head, nailing him to the ground. Four-Eyed Hollow was still alive and was frantically struggling. On the other side, the three divine dragon Dharma Laksana blocked Four-Eyed Hollow's attacks. As for the other prodigies, their attacks landed on Lu Ming's body. However, they were only barely able to break through his defenses. They left shallow scars on Lu Ming's body, but to Lu Ming, they were no different from scratching an itch. "Ah, Lu Ming, don't kill me, don't kill me." Four-Eyed Hollow screamed in terror and began to beg for mercy. In truth, his strength was not that weak. If he had used his full strength to fight Lu Ming, there was no way he would have been so easily suppressed by Lu Ming. The main reason was that he had been caught off guard and blinded by Lu Ming. The eyes of the multi-eyed race were their vital points. Once they were blinded, it would greatly damage their strength. That was why he had been so easily suppressed by Lu Ming. "Die," Lu Ming said coldly. The four-eyed empty man had been trying to kill him. How could he let the four-eyed empty man off? The long spear shook, and a terrifying force burst forth, exploding from the four-eyed empty man's body. The four-eyed empty man's body was torn into pieces. Hollow's pupils shrank as he frantically retreated. "All of you, stay here," Lu Ming shouted coldly. His long spear swept out with a force that could wipe out thousands of troops. A long spear light swept towards the Mystic Academy and Invincible Kenz's prodigies. At the same time, a crescent-shaped spear light shot out. "Not good. Retreat." The Mystic Academy and Invincible Kenz's prodigies' expressions changed as they frantically retreated. However, they were still a step too late. The spear smashed down, and a few of the weaker ones' bodies directly exploded. A few of the stronger ones were also sent flying like cannonballs, crashing into a few mountain peaks, smashing them into pieces. All of them were heavily injured. Among the crowd, Zhuo Budong was the one who fared better. He continued to attack with his sword, and the sword light slashed on the crescent-shaped spear light, producing a violent roar. Although his sword light was also shattered, he borrowed the force of the collision and retreated 1,000 miles. Only a trace of blood spilled from the corner of his mouth. "This person is too terrifying. Retreat first." Without any hesitation, Zhuo Budong turned into a ray of sword light and sped away. "Stay here," Lu Ming shouted as he threw out the spear in his hand. The spear shot out like a bolt of lightning towards Zhuo Budong. Zhuo Budong's expression changed. A few thousand rays of sword light shot out from his hand and slashed towards the spear. Bang bang bang, the spear and sword light exploded together. In the end, all the sword light shattered. The spear light flashed, and Zhuo Budong let out a blood-curdling scream. His abdomen was pierced by the spear, and blood flowed out. He did not dare to stay any longer. Despite his injuries, he used all his strength to escape. In the blink of an eye, he had disappeared. What a pity. Lu Ming did not chase after him. Zhuo Budong cultivated the sword. Sword cultivators not only had powerful attacks, but their speed was also astonishing. Now that he was fleeing, even if Lu Ming wanted to chase after him, he might not be able to. Lu Ming's gaze swept over the heavily injured geniuses of the Mystic Academy and Invincible Kenz. Those geniuses' expressions all changed. Their faces were pale without the slightest trace of blood. They were all terrified. "Lu Ming, don't kill us. My senior apprentice brother Zhuo has already escaped. If you kill us, the Invincible Kenz will not let you off." The geniuses of the Mystic Academy and Invincible Kenz all shouted. They were all holy sons, and they did not want to die here. "I can spare your lives if you swear on your life essence that you will be loyal to me in the future," Lu Ming coldly said. Chapter 2906. Swear allegiance to you on our life source. "Don't even think about it," roared one of the Mystic Academy's prodigies. Poof! With a flash of the spear, that prodigy's forehead was pierced, and he died on the spot. The other prodigies immediately kept quiet out of fear. "If you say you're not willing, I'll immediately send you on your way." "Who else?" Lu Ming looked around. No one spoke. Lu Ming's methods were too ruthless. They didn't doubt that if they rejected Lu Ming, they would be killed by Lu Ming. I'll give you 10 breaths of time. After 10 breaths, if you still don't agree, I'll have to send you on your way. 10. 9. Lu Ming began the countdown. I agree. Me too. In the end, the prodigies of the Mystic Academy and Invincible Kens all agreed and swore allegiance to Lu Ming with their life source. Lu Ming smiled. The Mystic Academy and Invincible Kens had a total of 6 people. These were all chosens. After all, the Kongxian sect only had 7 chosens in total. Lu Ming had gained the allegiance of 6 saints in one go. These people would definitely be useful in the future. Alright, don't announce your relationship with me to the public. You're still the saints of the Mystic Academy and Invincible Kens. If I need you in the future, I'll naturally contact you. Go. With that, Lu Ming waved his hands, gesturing for everyone to leave. Yes. The 6 chosens bowed and nodded. Then, their figures flashed and they left the place one after another. Lu Ming, you're getting stronger and stronger. With your current battle strength, you might be able to fight with the saints of the 3 overlord factions. Ouyang Qingxiang walked over, her face full of envy. Sorry, I absorbed so much energy from the stellar core fragment. Lu Ming smiled awkwardly. 90% of the stellar core fragment's energy had been absorbed by Lu Ming. I was the one who got the stellar core fragment because of you. I'm sorry. I'm already very lucky to have broken through 1 level after absorbing so much energy. Ouyang Qingxiang smiled. This planet is the closest to the star. There might be other star core fragments. Let's go look for them again, Lu Ming said. After finishing their discussion, Lu Ming collected the storage rings of Four-Eyed Empty Court and the others. Then, he left with Ouyang Qingxiang. However, their luck seemed to have run out. Or perhaps, there was only 1 stellar core fragment on this planet. In the next 5 or 6 days, they didn't find a second stellar core fragment. They also didn't encounter that kind of array plate. However, they had obtained quite a lot of precious metals. Lu Ming didn't hesitate to put them away. Rumble. Suddenly, a violent explosion came from one direction. At the same time, a terrifying force spread in this direction. These are divine force fluctuations. There are people fighting a great battle in that direction, Ouyang Qingxiang said. Such shocking fluctuations. The people fighting are very strong. Let's go take a look. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. The 2 of them concealed their aura and headed in that direction. After traveling for at least 10,000 miles, the fluctuations in front of them became more intense. Gazing into the distance, he saw 3 figures entangled with one another, fighting one another fiercely. The fact that the energy fluctuations from the 3 of them could travel so far showed how strong they were. Divine grade divine force. It's them. Mo Juye, Sword Dao Wuji, Kang Yang, Army Destroyer. Ouyang Qingxiang's eyes widened in shock. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. The 3 people fighting in front of them were Mo Juye, Sword Dao Wuji, Kang Yang, and Army Destroyer. However, the 3 of them didn't use their full strength. They were probably holding back, so the battle was difficult to determine. Below the 3 of them, there were other sky prides from the 3 overlord forces. In front of them, there was a stone pagoda. It was 9 stories high and the door was tightly shut. Mo Juye, Sword Dao Wuji, Kang Yang, and Army Destroyer should be fighting because of this stone pagoda. The 3 of them exchanged dozens of blows before they retreated and faced each other from afar. The 2 of you, everyone has a share. How about the 3 of us enter this stone pagoda together? Sword Dao Wuji's long hair fluttered in the wind. His sword chi soared into the sky like a sharp divine sword. You sure know how to take advantage of others. I found this stone pagoda first. Mo Juye snorted. His body was shrouded in black light as if he was in the dark night. So what if you found it first? You can't break the door of the stone pagoda alone. What's the use of that? In my opinion, we should work together to break the door of the stone pagoda and enter together. We'll fight for the treasures inside with our own abilities. That's the fairest way. Kang Yang, Army Destroyer, shouted. His body was covered in scarlet armor and was covered in raging flames. The terrifying heat caused the space to distort. It was rumored that Kang Yang, army destroyer, had the bloodline of the Scarlet Flame race. But no one knew if that was true or not. I agree with Brother Kang Yang's suggestion, Sword Dao Wuji said. Mo Juye's expression was ugly. But in front of Sword Dao Wuji and Kang Yang, there was nothing he could do. Sword Dao Wuji and Kang Yang, army destroyer, and army destroyer weren't any weaker than him. Alright, then it's decided. But before that, it seems there are two uninvited guests. Kang Yang, army destroyer, and Lu Ming looked in the direction of Ouyang Qingxiang and Lu Ming. At the same time, Mo Juye and Sword Dao Wuji also looked over, a cold light flashing in their eyes. Lu Ming smiled. Divine sons had unfathomable methods. It was normal for them to discover them. Let's go out and meet a divine son. Lu Ming smiled. Since they had been discovered, there was no need to hide it. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang walked out side by side. Kid, it's you. At the sight of Lu Ming, Mo Juye's eyes were filled with cold murderous intent. A cold aura shrouded Lu Ming. He had chased Lu Ming to this planet to kill him. He hadn't thought that Lu Ming would escape. Now that he saw him again, his killing intent was incomparably strong. Lu Ming's gaze swept around, but he didn't see Zhuo Budong's figure. It seemed that Zhuo Budong still hadn't met Sword Dao Wuji and the others. Mo Juye naturally didn't know that Lu Ming had killed Four-Eyed Kongting. Kongxian schools Lu Ming, haha. Sword Dao Wuji sneered. The sword intent on his body also became incomparably cold. In the ancient god world, Lu Ming had killed one of the invincible Kenzes holy sons. So Lu Ming was also on his must-kill list. So what if it's me? Lu Ming smiled and strode forward. His expression was indifferent, without the slightest fear. Very good, you still dare to come out. You're courting death. Now I'll send you on your way. Mo Juye's expression was sinister. Black light condensed into a pitch-black hand that grabbed at Lu Ming. Chapter 2907. Lu Ming snorted and did not retreat. He instantly activated the battle character art and quadrupled his battle strength. He executed the second style of the 3 strikes of extinction and slashed down with his spear. Randu. N. W. W. Ran Wen. Boom. The crescent-shaped spear light slashed down on Mo Juye's pitch-black hand. The two sides collided, and energy overflowed. Rumble. The crescent-shaped spear light trembled and finally exploded. Lu Ming's figure swayed and he retreated 6 or 7 steps. However, Mo Juye's claw was also split in half. Mo Juye's eyes narrowed. He was a little surprised. He did not expect Lu Ming to be able to block his attack. Although he had only casually executed that attack, its power was extremely shocking. Moreover, Lu Ming had not even used his ancient god body to block the attack. This made Mo Juye's expression turn serious. Beside him, Jian Dao Wuji, Kang Yang, and defeating armies were also surprised. Obviously, Lu Ming's battle strength had exceeded their expectations. So you've already broken through to the heavenly god realm. But do you think that you can fight me just because you've broken through? I'll let you know the difference between us. Mo Juye's eyes were cold. His body emitted even more black light, turning the surrounding 10,000 meters into night. It was a pure night, a night without any light at all. Kill. Mo Juye shouted coldly. His figure flashed, and like a ghost, he charged toward Lu Ming. The darkness around him quickly spread and enveloped Lu Ming. When Lu Ming was enveloped, he felt as if he had entered a bottomless abyss. There was no sound or light around him. Whoosh, whoosh. Suddenly, the sound of something breaking through the air came from all directions. Pairs of pitch-black claws suddenly appeared and grabbed at Lu Ming. These claws were like a pair of ghost claws, emitting a disgusting stench. Sky Pisser. Lu Ming's god power surged, he unleashed the sky-piercing technique. The spear light was like a meteor, piercing towards the sharp claws, destroying them. However, as soon as those claws were destroyed, they would immediately reform and grab at Lu Ming. Ice chains. Lu Ming's heart shook, and 9 ice chains flew out of his body. Each of them was tens of thousands of meters long, and they wrapped around the claws. As Lu Ming stepped into the heavenly deity realm, the power of the ice shackles also rose accordingly, becoming extremely astonishing. The terrifying coldness completely froze those ghost claws, and then exploded them. Lu Ming, you have some strength, but let's see how long you can last in my eternal night cage. Nine-armed Demon King, come out. Mo Juyi's voice rang out in the dark night. Following that, a series of roars could be heard. Then, in the darkness of the night, 3 enormous creatures appeared. The 3 enormous creatures were covered in scales, and their mouths were wide open with sharp fangs. They actually had 9 arms, like demons that had walked out from the abyss. This was the 9-armed Demon King that Mo Juyi had mentioned. Each of the 9-armed Demon King's arms held a weapon, and it roared as it charged towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming executed the Divine Dragon Image technique, and 3 9-clawed dragon images pounced out. At the same time, he brandished his spear and charged forward. Swoosh! Swoosh! The 9-armed Demon King brandished its 9 weapons, and continuously slashed out. The 3 9-clawed dragon images bore the brunt of the attack, and they were forced to retreat, with wounds appearing on their bodies. At this moment, Lu Ming's attack had also arrived, and the spear clashed with the 9-armed Demon King's weapon. Clang! Clang! A terrifying explosion rang out, but Lu Ming's expression changed. He could feel that the 9-armed Demon King's power was shockingly strong, and he could not withstand it at all. His body trembled violently, and he was forced to retreat. He almost vomited blood. The 3 9-armed Demon Kings split into 3 different directions and charged towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming, use your ancient god body. Let me see how strong you are. Mo Juyi's voice rang out again. Since you want to see, I'll fulfill your wish, Lu Ming said, and then executed the ancient god technique. His body rapidly collided, and he transformed into a green-armored ancient god that was a few hundred meters tall. Once he transformed into a green-armored ancient god, Lu Ming's strength skyrocketed. He brandished his spear, and spear radiance burst out, charging towards the 9-armed Demon King. The 9-armed Demon King also brandished its weapon, but this time, the 9-armed Demon King was no match for Lu Ming, and it was forced to retreat. Kill! Lu Ming stared at one of the 9-armed Demon Kings and charged over. His attacks were like a violent storm, attacking the 9-armed Demon King. Bang! The 9-armed Demon King barely resisted a few moves, and Lu Ming's spear struck its head. The head of the 9-armed Demon King exploded, and its entire body collapsed. After defeating one of the 9-armed Demon Kings, Lu Ming attacked the other 2 9-armed Demon Kings. Not long after, the remaining 2 9-armed Demon Kings were defeated. You have some strength. Come again. In my eternal night prison, I am the master. Ha ha. Mo Juyi laughed. The night rolled, and another 9-armed Demon King walked out. This time, there were a total of 9 9-armed Demon Kings, and they roared as they charged towards Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming transformed into a green-armored ancient god, and his fighting strength was extremely strong. After fighting with the 9-armed Demon Kings for a while, he defeated them one after another. Watch how I break your eternal night prison, Lu Ming shouted, and the spear in his hand grew rapidly. A shocking spear light shot up to the sky, as if it could pierce through the sky. Boom! Mo Juyi's eternal night prison had a limited range. The spear light pierced through the sky, and a hole was opened in the darkness, allowing light from outside to shine in. When the light shone on Mo Juyi's eternal night prison, it was like ice meeting fire, and it melted away, disappearing into nothingness. When the darkness disappeared, Lu Ming and Mo Juyi's figures were exposed. This is the green-armored ancient god body. Lu Ming has cultivated the green-armored ancient god body. Seeing Lu Ming's current state, Limitless Sword, Kang Yang, and Army Destroyer were shocked. He can even break Mo Juyi's eternal night prison. His strength is really shocking. He's only a level 1 heavenly god. How can he have such strong fighting strength? Limitless Sword, Kang Yang, and Army Destroyer spoke one after another, their faces solemn. In their hearts, they had unknowingly regarded Lu Ming as an opponent of the same level. They were old rivals of Mo Juyi, so they naturally knew about Mo Juyi's secret skills. Even they would find it difficult to break Mo Ju-yi's eternal night prison. As for the other sky prides of the three overlord forces, they were completely stunned. Mo Ju-yi, the divine son of the Mystic Academy, stood at the peak of the younger generation in Qin Tian Starfield. Almost no one could defeat him. In the entire Qin Tian Starfield, there were only a few people who could be his opponent. Lu Ming could actually fight with Mo Ju-ye. This was simply incredible. Mo Ju-yi, is this all you've got? I heard that you've also cultivated the ancient god body. Use it, or you're no match for me, Lu Ming shouted. Chapter 2908. Since you want to see it, I'll fulfill your wish. www.ranwenc.com. Mo Ju-yi's face darkened as he roared. His body swelled rapidly as he turned into an ancient god. However, the scales on the surface of his ancient god body were orange. The orange-armored ancient god body and height were much shorter than Lu Ming's. However, Mo Ju-ye's cultivation level was too high. He was a 6th-level celestial god and was much stronger than Lu Ming. With the support of his powerful cultivation level, his power was extremely terrifying. Boom! Mo Ju-yi took a step forward as his huge body charged toward Lu Ming. A huge black demonic saber appeared in his hand as he slashed at Lu Ming. Kill! Lu Ming roared as he charged toward Mo Ju-yi. Boom! 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 The two of them clashed fiercely, unleashing fierce attacks. This was the most direct collision, and it was extremely intense. It was as if two giants were fighting fiercely. During this time, both of them used all kinds of methods. Lu Ming continuously used the ice shackles, the divine dragon aspect art, and the 3 strokes of destruction. Mo Ju-yi also used various terrifying secret techniques and divine skills. One had to admit that Mo Ju-yi's battle strength was extremely strong. The two of them exchanged more than 100 moves, but it was still difficult to determine the victor. Mo Ju-yi's divine power was of the divine grade. Moreover, the divine skills and secret techniques that he cultivated were also very powerful. They were not any weaker than Lu Ming's divine power. Moreover, his cultivation was 5 layers higher than Lu Ming's. This was a 5th-layer heavenly god realm. The difference was shocking. Lu Ming's advantage was the universe myriad Dao technique. He cultivated 6 divine fires, and his body was filled with 6 different types of divine power. However, Lu Ming's other 5 types of divine power were of the divine grade. 2 of them were of the divine grade, while the other 3 were of the royal grade. The difference between saint and king grade divine powers was too great. Even if there were 5 types of divine powers combined, the gap wouldn't be too great. Lu Ming estimated that his current strength was barely comparable to a 3rd-level heavenly god Mo Ju-yi, or perhaps even weaker. Lu Ming's other advantage was the quadruple combat strength of the battle formula and the green-armored ancient god body. Only with all these advantages added together would he be able to fight Mo Ju-yi. The battle prowess of the two was evenly matched. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged over 100 moves. Terrifying. How can this Lu Ming be so terrifying? Unbelievable. I've never heard of his name before. I can't believe he's so strong. The Kongxian school actually has such a genius. Things are going to change in the future. The other geniuses of the 3 overlord factions could not calm their hearts. Even Sword Dao Wuji, Kang Yang, and defeating armies had grave expressions on their faces. Clang, clang. Sword Dao Wuji, in particular, constantly emitted sword hums from his body. He was like a divine sword, his sword intent soaring to the heavens, ready to strike at any moment. However, he held back. After all, he was a divine son. If he joined forces with Mo Ju-yi to attack Lu Ming, he would lose face. Boom. Boom. The battle between Lu Ming and Mo Ju-yi was still ongoing. The more they fought, the more intense it became. Poof. Mo Ju-yi's saber light landed on Lu Ming's body. Green scales scattered, and deep wounds appeared on Lu Ming's body. At the same time, Lu Ming's long spear also landed on Mo Ju-yi's body. Mo Ju-yi staggered, and a large part of his body exploded. Flesh and blood flew everywhere. It was a horrible sight. However, the two had no intention of stopping. They were still fighting fiercely, and their battle intent was getting stronger. The others held their breaths and watched with wide eyes. They wanted to see who would win between Lu Ming and Mo Juyi. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lu Ming brandished his long spear like a dragon. The first and second forms of the 3 strikes of annihilation were executed consecutively by Lu Ming. This was also because of the support of the quantifying character formula. Otherwise, it would have been difficult to sustain. It was also because of these conditions that Lu Ming could unleash such a powerful battle strength. Otherwise, a first-level heavenly god wouldn't have such battle strength. Although Mo Juyi was only a 6th-level heavenly god, his battle strength was enough to kill an 8th-level heavenly god. He could even fight a 9th-level heavenly god. In other words, Lu Ming was only a 1st-level heavenly god, but he could fight a 9th-level heavenly god. It was a miracle. 3 strikes of annihilation, 3 strikes of annihilation. Up until now, Lu Ming's mind was unusually calm. He was enjoying such a great battle and absorbing experience from it. His comprehension of the 3 strikes of annihilation was getting deeper. He had a feeling that the 3 strikes of annihilation were about to achieve a breakthrough. He had cultivated the 3 strikes of annihilation to the peak of the 6th layer for a long time. After such a long period of training, his comprehension of the 3 strikes of annihilation was extremely deep. After an intense battle with Mo Juyi, he had a feeling that he was about to achieve a breakthrough. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged another few dozen blows. Buzz! Suddenly, Lu Ming swung his long spear. The long spear vibrated vigorously, and a crescent-shaped spear ray was fired. Its power was stronger than before. A breakthrough. The 3 strikes of annihilation had reached the 7th layer. Each layer of the divine skill would increase its power tremendously. The crescent-shaped spear ray collided with Mo Juyi's saber ray, causing the latter's saber ray to vibrate vigorously. How is this possible? Mo Juyi's expression changed drastically, revealing a look of disbelief. How could Lu Ming's attack improve at such a crucial moment? Bang! Mo Juyi's body shuddered. He took a few steps back before stabilizing himself. Ha ha ha, again. Lu Ming laughed as he brandished his long spear. The breakthrough of the 3 strikes of annihilation had made it easier for him to use them. Moreover, the breakthrough of the 3 strikes of annihilation had allowed him to use the 3rd move. Of course, this required time to cultivate. Lu Ming had yet to cultivate, so naturally, he could not use it. However, the power of the 1st move, Sky Pisser, and the 2nd move, Moon Slashing, had increased tremendously. Bang! Bang! The situation had completely changed. Lu Ming's attack power had suddenly increased, completely suppressing Mo Juyi. Mo Juyi roared as he tried his best. However, he was still no match for Lu Ming. He was forced to retreat. For a moment, he could only parry and could not fight back. Originally, he and Lu Ming's battle power were on par. Now that Lu Ming had a breakthrough in his divine skill, the balance had tipped. This Lu Ming is so talented. He actually managed to break through his divine skill in the middle of a battle. Jiandao Wuji's eyes flashed with astonishment. Such talent is of course terrifying. Kang Yang and defeating armies licked their lips. Their eyes were filled with shock and battle intent. They were also peerless geniuses. However, it was their first time encountering someone like Lu Ming. Such a person cannot be allowed to live. Otherwise, there will be no place for us in the Qin Tian Starfield in the future. Jiandao Wuji's eyes flashed with a cold light. Jiandao Wuji, are you thinking of joining forces with Mo Juyi? I can't do such a thing. If you want to fight, let's fight fair and square. Kang Yang and defeating armies said disdainfully. Chapter 2909. If you won't attack, then I'll. Limitless Sword Dao coldly said. His sword intent suddenly soared, and a resplendent swordlight slashed at Lu Ming. Hu Ran Wen. W. 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 Ran Wen A. The swordlight was tens of thousands of meters long, and its pressure was like a mountain. Boundless Sword Qi was extremely terrifying. Limitless Sword Dao immediately used his killing move. Mo Juyi's eyes brightened, and he immediately attacked Lu Ming with his full strength. "You're despicable." Not far away, Ouyang Qingxiang shouted. But with her strength, she could only worry. She couldn't interfere. Moon severing, moon severing. At this time, Lu Ming's left hand took out another spear. With a spear in each hand, he used moon severing at the same time. One attack was aimed at Limitless Sword Dao, the other at Mo Juyi. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming's attack collided with Mo Juyi's and the Limitless Sword Dao's attacks at the same time, resulting in a terrifying explosion. Lu Ming gave a muffled snort and his body trembled. A powerful force surged toward him from both sides. Limitless Sword Dao controlled divine-grade divine energy. At the same time, he cultivated the Sword Dao, so his attack power was extremely terrifying. Lu Ming could feel tiny sword auras drilling into his body continuously, slashing at the scales on his body. Sparks flew in all directions. Lu Ming's expression changed. His body rapidly spun, and he escaped from Mo Juyi and Limitless Sword Dao's encirclement. Then his divine energy surged out, destroying the sword qi on his body. Boom! Boom! Limitless Sword Dao and Mo Juyi stepped forward, their powerful auras pressing down on Lu Ming. "Very good. The two of you want to work together? Then come. Even if I die, I'll drag one of you down with me." "Who should I drag?" Lu Ming's eyes flashed coldly, revealing a sinister killing intent. He constantly swept his gaze over Limitless Sword Dao and Mo Juyi. Limitless Sword Dao and Mo Juyi's expressions both changed, and they stopped. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. The effect of this move was pretty good. Back then, he had used this move to scare off Four-Eyed Empty Court and Zhuo Budong. Now, he was using the same trick again to scare off Mo Juye and the Sword Dao Wuji. Of course, this was also because his battle prowess was strong, that this move was effective. If his battle prowess was not up to par with either Mo Juyi or Limitless Sword Dao, then the two of them could easily kill Lu Ming if they worked together. Then, this move would be useless. The main reason was that Lu Ming's strength was extremely shocking. In a one-on-one battle, he could suppress Mo Juyi. If he really went all out, he could really drag someone down with him. That was why they were afraid. This fellow is just trying to scare us. I don't believe he'll really risk his life. Mo Juyi roared. He really wanted to kill Lu Ming. "You guys are joining forces to kill me, so why shouldn't I fight back?" "Ridiculous." Lu Ming sneered. Mo Juyi was at a loss for words. That was indeed the case. Since he was about to die, how could he not give it his all? "Come on, it's not bad to drag a divine child down with us," Lu Ming shouted, his battle intent surging. Limitless Sword Dao didn't move. He really was a bit apprehensive. If Lu Ming went all out and took him down with him, it really wouldn't be worth it. Hadn't Lu Ming just killed a divine child of the invincible Kens? What did that have to do with him? If Lu Ming was weak and he could kill him with a flip of his hand, then he would naturally kill Lu Ming. That way, he would be able to gain fame and win people's hearts. But now that Lu Ming's strength was enough to threaten his life, he had to reconsider. "Ha ha ha, Lu Ming, you're overthinking it. I just wanted to test your strength when I saw your battle. Your strength is truly shocking. I admire you. If you want to fight, then continue. I won't disturb you." Limitless Sword Dao laughed and withdrew his sword intent. He retreated 100 miles, leaving the battlefield to Lu Ming and Mo Juyi. This fellow really is a hypocrite. Mo Juyi clenched his teeth, his expression ugly. "Mo Juyi, do you want to continue?" Lu Ming stared at Mo Juyi. "Temph, Lu Ming, I'll let you off today. The mountains are high and the rivers are long. We'll fight again in the future." Mo Juyi spat out those words and also retreated, putting some distance between him and Lu Ming. If he were to continue fighting with Lu Ming alone, he would feel a little guilty. Lu Ming smiled faintly and didn't continue fighting with Mo Juyi. First of all, with his strength, although he could suppress Mo Juyi, it wasn't very likely that he could kill him. Second of all, Limitless Sword Dao and Kang Yang were watching him. If he was injured, he didn't doubt that limitless sword Dao would take the opportunity to eliminate him. Now wasn't the time for a battle. The scene of 4 experts facing off against each other appeared. The others felt complicated. In the past, the Qin Tian 13 sects had limitless sword Dao, Mo Ju Yi, Kang Yang, and Kang Yang. Now, they knew that the Qin Tian 13 sects would have 4 experts, and Lu Ming would be one of them. It's good to have one more person. Let's do what we did before. We'll work together and break open the door. If there are treasures inside, we'll rely on our own abilities. How about it? Kang Yang said. Okay. Lu Ming nodded. Then let's do it. Kang Yang said, his body emitting a scorching aura as he punched out. His fist energy was incomparably hot, like a ball of magma, and it blasted towards the door. Clang. Whoosh. Sword Dao Wuji, Mo Juye, and Lu Ming also attacked the door of the stone pagoda. The stone tower looked very old, as if it would collapse at any moment. However, when their attacks landed on the door, it only shook violently and didn't explode. What are you guys standing there for? Attack together. Mo Juyi looked at the other sky prides of the Mystic Academy. The faces of those geniuses changed. Then, they all attacked together, attacking the stone pagoda door. At the same time, the sky prides of the invincible Kens, boundless sacred ground, and Ouyang Qingxiang attacked together. Their attacks continuously blasted towards the door. Rumble. The door of the stone tower shook continuously. After a while, a crack appeared on the door. Success. Continue. Limitless sword Dao's eyes lit up as he attacked even more vigorously. Rays of resplendent sword chi continuously slashed towards the door. Crack. Crack. More and more cracks appeared on the door. Not long after, the door exploded. Behind the door was a spacious hall. Through the door, one could clearly see an altar in the middle of the hall. Above the altar, there were 3 bronze array plates floating. Array plates, 3 array plates. Lu Ming and the others' eyes lit up, emitting a blazing light. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Lu Ming, Limitless Sword Dao, Kang Yang, Jun Po, and Mo Juyi all rushed into the hall at the same time. The hall was very spacious. There was nothing else in it except for the altar and the 3 array plates. The array plates are mine. Mo Juyi formed a large hand and grabbed at the 3 array plates. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.